You are going to die someday. Knowing this, what should you do? How does your mortality affect the meaning of your life? Let's consider. Hello philosophers, I'm Chico. Welcome to the Philosopher Show, where we consider the greatest questions of human history. Imagine you caught a nasty case of swimmer's ear and you're given 1 year to live. What would you do? I think you'd likely do two kinds of things. First, experiences. Bucket list items. For me, I would spend a lot of time with my family. I'd like to go surf in Japan. And I think I would like to go back to the Christmas markets in Salzburg with my wife. We went there on our honeymoon. That'd be pretty dope. So experience stuff. But the other kinds are projects. For example, I would like to write a book of philosophical importance. And I'd like to maybe make as many of these videos as I could possibly. Important ones, right? Ones that are going to affect people's lives. Now, let me give you a different scenario. Imagine again that you have only a year to live. But this time it's because the sun is dying, the earth is going to explode, we have no way off of it. What kinds of things would you do now? Well, it seems like all the projects would be pointless. I mean, personally, I would feel like make videos for whom? So it seems like the whole point of our projects are to make things that will extend past our own lives. And here's a really weird idea. I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but do you ever consider somebody who has posthumous success, great artists or something that die, and it's not until after they're dead that they actually gain some following or people actually appreciate their work? Like, I know J.S. Bach was, I know he was kind of like famous in his day, but not really. And then it wasn't until Mendelssohn came along, or Vincent van Gogh was a total failure. Not until he was dead did people actually care about his work. Of course, if you could, what you would want is to be super successful in this life and then have your work live on after you're gone. But would you rather have your work just be important right now and then after you're dead people realize, oh, this work wasn't all that great? Or your work be total failure right now, but then once you're gone, for thousands and thousands of years, people think it's the greatest thing that ever happened. It's a weird question because when you think about it, the person who has posthumous success has the exact same experience as the person who is a total failure. And yet, if somebody were to offer you the ability to be posthumously successful or just be a total failure, of course you're going to choose the posthumous success. But what's the point? Why would you want that? It's not like you can experience anything of that. Again, it seems to be like psychologically speaking, we have some desire to make something that will outlast us. But part of the meaning of life question, part of the thing that we're seeking to answer here is which actions are worth pursuing in our life. You remember that's the axiomatic part of this question. The purpose of our lives should tell us what's worth doing. So some people think that what's worth doing with our lives is to make things that transcend our lives. Possibly like painting an important piece of art, maybe beginning some foundation that will help people, maybe by going out and conquering lots of people and building a whole empire. But this is going to be a difficult thing to do. I can think of 3 reasons, but I'm sure there are a lot more. First of all, what's important tends to change very quickly. For example, recently Drew Brees has surpassed Peyton Manning as the all-time passing leader in the NFL. But how many sports last past a few centuries? Who will care about Drew Brees' record 500 years from now? Will they even still be playing football? Number 2, most people can't make a significant dent in the world. I mean, think about it this way. Do you even know who your great-grandparents are? Some people build like family trees and they figure out like my great-grandfather was, this guy, and my great-great-grandfather was this guy. But how much do you really know about that guy? Really, the most you get is a name and a few facts. Maybe some pictures. Of course, in the future, people are going to have a lot more stuff. Video, audio, pictures. Then again, at the rate of increase of media that we have, all that stuff is probably going to get drowned out. How are you going to be able to sift through all that stuff and find important stuff? I think what's worse is the people who really make a dent usually make a bad one. Guys like Napoleon or Hitler. Those are the names that you remember, not the guys that not the guys that kept the peace. And finally, the tides of history seem to wash away all the significant imprints that we make. I mean, only a few things are really relevant from thousands of years ago today. Now, you may think, well, I'll be one of those people. I'm going to make that significant mark, right? People will know me for thousands of years from now. But think about it. The world is going to end one day. Maybe environmental catastrophe, maybe nuclear war, maybe some religious apocalypse. And even if the world doesn't end in one of those ways, the universe is going to end. The universe is going to die die off in a heat death thousands and thousands of years from now. So, for some people, it's very important that they do something that transcends not only their lives, but this universe. For others, they say, well, I'm okay with just having, a few thousand years of significance. Although really, you could argue maybe that's just a lack of imagination. I mean, imagine you find out that 2 weeks after you die, the world is going to end. Will you really care about those projects just because they're going to transcend your life for two weeks? Maybe the feeling that several thousand years is sufficient is just because we can't wrap our heads around that long of a time. And if we could really wrap our hands around it, we'd think, oh gosh, I need to make something even longer. So maybe the feeling that eternity isn't important is more of a conceptual limitation that we have. Let me know what you think. Is it important that we make stuff that lasts beyond us? Or are we deceiving ourselves into thinking that we're going to get a little bit more life if we make something that great? Also, please stay tuned to this playlist. We'll talk more about meaning of life. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and tag a friend so that they can join this conversation. That's all I got for today. Adios.